set up right down the hill from me a bit. These turkeys are over here on this knob, and they are hammering. There's at least 2 gobblers. He's still hammering. There's sound like they're still on the roost. I think we got company on private and maybe even public as well. But we're on this knob. I think we got a fighting chance they may just want to come up here naturally. Definitely got company in the woods, but we still got a fighting chance. Alright, April 27th, Abram and I are on another North Carolina public land. We've never been here, so we just got on Google Earth, looked some stuff up, and we pulled in this morning. There was a couple vehicles there. There was a tree across the road, so kind of forced us to take the easiest access spot. And I don't know, we probably heard 150 gobbles this morning, several different birds. But they were on the edge of private. I think we had people on private calling one of those other vehicles that was parked. They must have came this way. It sounded like we had somebody on public calling as well, and us. Somebody just shot a minute ago and thought I heard the turkey flopping. So we just saw the guy that killed the bird.
You should have got that on video.
It was probably a 7 or 8 inch beard, had good spurs, the guy was friendly. He said there were 2 gobblers out there in the field strutting, and he sounded like he had permission to hunt both public and private. He knew the guy that owned that field, so he had the upper hand on us. He got him. That's good, so we're on our way scouting. Seeing this creek bottom that we're in, there's a lot of greenery here, so I see why turkeys will want to spend some time down here. Those turkeys were roosted on this ridge this morning. I can see why. It's been burned. Got a lot of greenery coming up. We could have been here if we would have known a little bit more about this place, but having to explore the property lines, you really need daylight. If we would have been on this ridge this morning, those turkeys would have been in our lap. But that's why you get out and scout. We'll know next time.
Well, we worked our way up to where we thought those birds were roosted at this morning. There's some signs of scratching and stuff, and Seth started calling, and we've got a Tom fired up. He's gobbling at us, so there he was.
And amongst these pines, there's one big white oak here. And then there's another big one right down there on the lower side of this thick stuff. This is the kind of stuff that we're looking for. Just a real secluded and thorns. A real secluded couple of white oaks where they might get up and get out of their bed early and hit those in daylight. Along easy walking path. This place is pretty easy to get around in. Not real steep, not too terribly thick. Up through here's another one of those little drainages. A lot of greenery in here, turkey looking spot. This is pretty representative of what we've seen. Got the pathway and then planted pines and a lot of small stuff. A lot of poplar coming up underneath. Go for it. See how these up here are they're brittle up here at the top. You got all this flush of new growth coming off the roots down here. One thing we've noticed is this fire must have gotten hot enough to kill almost all of the hardwoods in here. If you notice the bottom of these poplars, they got some shoots coming back off the roots, but it's killed almost every one, even these bigger ones. And we've seen that consistently through here. The pines, they handle that heat well. You can't tell it so much just when you first put eyes on your aerial maps, but this place has got a lot of little, I don't know, half-acre fields, and some of them have been planted. Other ones of them just look like it's allowed to grow up, fall over, maybe bush hogged, I don't know. But kind of gives them pockets throughout these areas, and there's little roads all through this place. You kind of can't see them from the aerials. There's enough canopy to hide them on the map, but you get down in here and it's like every quarter mile crossing the hillsides you run into a new one. There we go. Turkey tracks, deer tracks. All right, you see the sign in the background. Today, Mitchell River Game Lands. This is our first time being here. So we looked on our aerial maps online and kind of had an idea of where we wanted to go. And I would say, based on the amount of gobbling we heard this morning, we picked a good spot. What surprised you?
There's a lot of burns where they've done it, and there's a lot of undergrowth, which is really nice.
There's a big tree across the road when we got here. That surprised us, and so that limited our options. There's a great big red oak. There's a ton of pine here. Some Virginia pine and a lot of planted loblolly pine, and they're thin enough with the burns that there's some undergrowth there, sure enough. 2,300 acres.